Narrow multi-storey car parks give you endless opportunities to remove expensive automotive paint from your car. Whether it's curbing your wheels, knocking off your wing mirror, or even scraping a body panel, parking in a multi-storey can end up costing you a lot more than the hourly parking rate. Narrow multi-storey car parks aren't such a problem when you're going straight, but when you want to make a turn, that's when they become difficult, because either the side of your car hits the first post or the front of your car hits the next post. This is the predicament most new drivers find themselves in if they try to deal with this situation without training. What you need to understand is when you turn, the front of your car swings and the back of your car pivots. So if you start near this post and try to steer around it, what's going to happen is the front side of your car is going to hit the post. Even if I go further forwards and try to steer, the side of my car is still going to hit the post. If I'm starting near this post and I want to steer around it without hitting it, I've actually got to wait until the rear wheel of the car is in line with the post to go around it with any chance of missing it. But then you're almost certainly going to hit the next post with the front of your car. So what do? Well, first tip, and the most important tip, is when you're trying to do narrow bends, narrow tight bends, start as far on the outside of the bend as you can. In this case, the outside is to the right, so that you have space between your car and this post. When you have this space, you can steer earlier, meaning you can make it in here without hitting either side. I recommend steering when your A-pillar is in line with this post. Maybe even a little bit later, so maybe the middle of your door. It all depends on how much space you have here. The more space you have here, the earlier you can turn. Now when I turn, I'm adding angle. The space is getting smaller, but it's allowing me to add angle so that I can make it through this gap without the side of my car hitting this post or the front of the car hitting that post. Now for my next tip. So I'm going to make the gap more narrow. There we go. Squeeze them up a little bit. Yep, that's more narrow. It's better to steer too late than to steer too early. So this time I'm still going to start as far to the right as I can, but instead of steering when my A pillar is in line with this post, I'm going to steer when my B pillar, the back of my front door, is in line with this post. What I also recommend you do is stop and steer fully. Yes, I know it's dry steering, but this is going to give you a smaller turning circle and help you make the turn. So stop, steer fully to the left, and then go. And hopefully you make it, but if you don't, it's not such a problem, because look, we have space here, and as long as we have space here, we can make an adjustment. Steer in the opposite direction, so at the moment the car's steering left, because it's tried to go left. So steer the wheel all the way in the opposite direction, which will be right on this occasion, and then come back, and that will swing the front of your car around, and then you can steer to the left again and go forwards, and this time you can make it through on the second go without hitting either side. Something else to bear in mind though is when you are starting on the outside of the bend, don't get too close to the outside, because when you steer, there can be some overhang at the back that can swing out a little bit and clip here. But in a car, it's very minimal. You don't actually need much space from this object to be sure you're going to clear it. A foot, 30 centimeters, should certainly be enough in most cars, particularly a car like this, a Fiat 500 with very minimal overhangs. If your car has a massive boot that sticks out from your rear wheel, or you're driving a van, then you may need to keep a little bit more distance so that when you turn, it doesn't swing out and hit the outside. I'm about to drive into a multi-storey car park. I haven't been in here for a while. I don't have much reason to use the local ones because, well, I can walk to town or cycle to town, and if I drive, I know all the free places to park. All day, only £4. Not bad. So, quite a steep hill here if I remember correctly. and it's about to get narrow. Hopefully you'll be able to see, because it is a bit darker in here. So I'm going to start to the right of my lane, because that is a sharp bend. I'm also going to go down to first gear and go slow. I'm going to stay as right as I possibly can. And now the side there, that wall's in line with like the middle of my window. I'm going to start to steer, and I'm going to aim for the middle of the gap there between these two posts. Focusing on the middle, try not to look at the edge, and just trying to keep myself in the center. Now it's super narrow. I will actually look at the post on the left and the post on the right, and I'll make sure I'm going to clear it. And as you can see, I am clearing it there. So now I'll get back to looking in the middle. That is really narrow. Quite surprised by that. This one's a little bit better, staying right as much as I can, steering as late as I can, then looking at the center of the space. Easier this one though, and I'm having to use gas and clutch control to keep myself slow. I can be fully off the clutch now, but then clutch down again, or else I'll go too fast, and then use clutch control again. No one coming from the right, although they should give way to me. And then it's easy here. I want to go left here, so I'm going to stay to the right and steer late. So around about here, big steer, and I'm going to go left again, so I'm staying to the right so I can steer left, clutch down, then gas and clutch just to control the speed so I don't go too fast. I can check both ways, as it looks like cars can come from both these sides. And I can be fully off the clutch now, and I'm staying right again to help me make this turn. Is this one two-way? I think this is, so people can come down there, so clutch down and go a bit slower. Now I'm steering, now that post is next to my window, fully turned as far as it will go, looking at the center of the lane. I can see to the right is a white car just dipping the clutch. Looks like they should give way to me anyway. And now I'm looking at the center of my space here. This one goes quite high. I've got another one to go up. I can go left or right. I'll signal left actually for the car behind. Looking at the middle of the space I'm entering, turning fully, and then going up the hill. Not really much need to signal there. You can if you want. And then clutch down, gas and clutch to control the speed. Looks like no cars are coming. And up here it's nice and easy. As for reversing, if you want to reverse into a parking space or drive forwards into a parking space, well, it's no different to parking anywhere else. I've already done some videos on it, so I'll leave a link to one in the top right hand corner of your screen. I'm going to park in that one though. So now I'm coming, swing my nose out so that the back of my car is in line with the space, straighten the wheel, put it in reverse. Looks like I need to steer a little bit more towards the space, so I'm looking around. Looks clear, steering towards the space, which in this case is left. And now I'm aiming for the space. I'm going to straighten the wheel, check round, come back to the beginning of the space. Now I'm at the beginning of the space. I'll turn left to take my angle off. And if you don't understand any of that, as I say, I've made a video about it and I've left a link to it. I've happened to have chosen one of the smallest spaces I could have done, because even though I'm in the middle, I don't actually think I can open my doors. The reason why I said signalling was not that important in that situation was because there was nobody in front of me. There were no cars waiting to pull out, and there were no pedestrians waiting to cross in front of where I was going. There was only cars behind, and whether I went left or right really made no difference to them. There was no way they were going to try and sneak up one side of me given where I was positioned and how wide the space was. So signalling that I'm going to go left or right doesn't make a difference to them. They're still waiting behind, but you can if you want to be courteous. Generally speaking, if I think a signal is going to be helpful, then I will use it. If I think a signal is going to be misleading, then I won't use it. If I think a signal isn't going to be helpful and it isn't going to be misleading, then I tend still not to use it. No signal though is better than a misleading signal. And if you want to watch a video about signals, I'll leave a link to one in the top right hand corner of your screen. Earlier on in the video, I said I was going to help you judge whether or not you're going to hit a post or a wall or something that's next to you. So I'm going to do it to this thing here. I'm going to go left around it and get close to it and show you how to judge if you're going to hit it. So it's alongside me now. I'm going to start steering and you're going to be worried, are we going to hit it with the side of our car? Well, I'm going to show you the wing mirror now, and you can actually see it in the wing mirror, and you can see how close we are and whether or not we're going to hit it. If you feel you're going to hit it, you can straighten the wheel a little bit to get further away. Having to use gas and clutch control here to stay slow, not the best for your clutch, but you kind of have to do it right now if you want to be safe and make sure no one's coming, because I can't see. If I had the clutch fully up, then obviously I'll be going too fast for some situations. You may be thinking that's bad for the clutch, but when you're driving very slowly like I am now and on hills, it is kind of unavoidable, should I say. Clutch wear is a bit unavoidable. You're going to wear it a little bit. I'll leave a link to a video all about clutch wear in the top right hand corner of your screen. But yes, driving in town, driving on hills, driving at super slow speeds does wear your clutch more than driving on the motorway. And if you want to avoid clutch wear at low speeds, often you have to go probably a bit too fast. Driving in these car parks can be challenging, even for an experienced driver. I mean, I was a bit worried myself when I came up that hill turn left between those red posts. That was properly narrow, and I was thinking, what have I got myself into with this video here? If it's all going to be like this, is going to be a real challenge. But then it got a lot easier after that. And that's what I tend to find is the case with these narrow multi-storey car parks. You've got sections which are really difficult and then others which aren't so bad. So it's not all bad. It's usually where you have to put your token in or pay at a machine where it gets properly narrow. And where those red posts were, that is actually where there used to be a booth where a person used to sit and you used to pay the person when you came into the car park and left. That's how I remember it. That's how it was when I passed my driving test, 2004. So it just changed since then, but I lived further away then, so I had more reason to use this car park. My advice is, if you feel it's challenging, probably best not to go there. Wait until you have more skill. You need skill at keeping the car slow. You need to be able to keep the car very slowly so that you can put the car where you need it to be. If the car is going quicker than you can handle and you're having a rush of steering, then don't come to places like this. You're not going to be safe and you're going to risk damaging your car. And the point I'm making here is the cost of the damage can be so great, it's just not worth it. Go and park somewhere easier until you feel you have more skill and more control over your vehicle and are better at judging smaller spaces. I'm just trying to save you some money, because bodywork, it's not cheap. If you think the video is helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're looking for car insurance, check out the links to Collingwood and Confused in the description. If you're learning to drive and want to insure yourself on somebody else's car, then Collingwood are there for you, because you can do so without affecting the owner's policy, which takes away a big stress from the owner of that car. Via the link at the moment, there's up to 35% off and a £20 Amazon gift card. If you want to insure your own car, I recommend checking out the link to confused.com. You fill out one quote form and get loads of quotes back from many insurers to compare who's cheapest, and you can change your car on that quote as many times as you like. Using the links doesn't cost you anything, but it does support the channel, so thank you very much. Subscribe to get my future videos, and until the next one, cheerio.